With the opening of classes, children are now back in school. Along with this are problems like lice. How can we avoid and get rid of them? Are they dangerous? Let's find out together. Pediculosis. An infestation of the skin by parasites called lice. What are lice? Lice are very small gray-whitish wingless insects. They have a flattened body. And their legs are equipped with special hooks, which they use to attach themselves firmly to the scalp and hair. They also have a buccal apparatus for piercing the skin and sucking blood. They are parasites of animals, especially of human beings. Because of this, they depend on their hosts, and cannot live independently. Each louse has its favorite natural habitat in a specific body site. The head louse, Pediculus humanus capitis, causes most of the infestation. It is grayish in color, often camouflaged with the hair color of the host. It is usually found on children's heads, specifically in the areas of the nape and behind the ears. The body louse, Pediculus humanus corporis, is indistinguishable from the head louse, due to its similar shape, so the differential diagnosis is made according to the location. It is often found on clothes used by people infested with such. This type of lice can survive for a whole month. The pubic louse, Thyrus pubis, also called flat, due to its flattened shape, has very strong limbs and hooks, capable of anchoring to thicker hairs compared to the hair on our heads. What is the life cycle of head lice? Lice are born from the eggs deposited by the females on the head of the unfortunate host. The eggs are attached to the root of the hair with a natural glue which is very difficult to dissolve. The eggs are opalescent, elongated, and about 1 millimeter long. They are laid 24 to 48 hours after the coupling, depending more or less on favorable temperature. The egg usually hatches in 7 days, at an optimal temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. The newborn louse takes the name of nymph. The main activity of the young louse in this stage is growth. The young louse will feed on and suck blood from the skin 2 to 5 times a day. It will gradually grow and get bigger, until it becomes the adult form of the parasite, after 7 to 13 days. After 1 or 2 weeks, the louse can then be considered an adult. The main activity of the adults is to perpetuate the procreating species. The role of the male louse is to fertilize the females, and the female's part is laying about 5 eggs a day. How does pediculosis manifest itself? Lice are not as naive as they might seem and have devised strategies to avoid being discovered. In particular, their saliva produces an anesthetic substance that removes sensitivity to the bitten skin so that the first louse bites are not felt. After a few weeks, however, the person starts to feel local pruritus, thus sensing the presence of the parasite. The pruritus is first localized to the areas where the nits are deposited and then the nape and the upper part of the trunk. It is caused by an allergic reaction to the insect saliva, and therefore, a period of latency occurs between the infestation and the appearance of the symptoms, during which the transmission of the infestation is easy. How do we distinguish them from normal dandruff? The lice are different from dandruff because when you let the hair run through your fingers, while the dandruff comes off easily. The eggs, nits, do not come off the hair, being tenaciously attached to it through the particular adhesive substance. What to do in case of pediculosis? 1. Make sure that it's lice. The best way to diagnose lice infestation is by wet combing. Sprinkle the hair with abundant balm. Then comb through all the hair using a fine-toothed comb, from root to tip, properly separating the locks, until no more insects are collected. Is it lice? Then let's move on to. Let's check if it's really lice. If they are, then let's move on to action, that is, to removal and prevention. For small infestations, the method described above may suffice. By physically removing the insects with the comb several times a day, the infestation can be eradicated. It is essential to wash all clothing, hats, bed linen, towels, sofa covers, at least 60 degrees Celsius in the washing machine after each treatment to avoid reinfestation. Objects and clothing that cannot be washed should be kept in a tightly closed plastic bag for at least 7 days. By doing this, the lice will not be able to feed on the host's blood and so die of hunger. The larvae will also die of hunger at the nymph stage. After 7 days, you can open the bag and expose the clothing and items to the air. If that's not enough, then specific treatments with chemical agents are needed. 3. Specific treatments with chemicals. If the treatments we have described do not eradicate the infestation, it means that it is already at a higher level stage and there is a necessity for the use of more appropriate weapons. There are many products against pediculosis in the market. They can be in the form of powder, cream, mousse, gel, and shampoo. These must be prescribed by your doctor. Can pediculosis be avoided or prevented? It is not possible to prevent pediculosis with certainty. Not even using pesticide products for preventive purposes can make anyone immune to the infestation. This is actually a useless and potentially harmful practice. It is possible, however, to put in place some precautions in order to avoid the transmission of lice and to reduce the risk of being infested. Educate children to prevent piling up of garments, especially in schools and gyms. It would be more appropriate for every child to have a personal locker. Educate children to avoid the exchange of personal items such as combs, hats, scarves, ribbons, hair clips, and towels. Put in place an accurate surveillance, with weekly inspections of the head, in particular on the nape and behind the ears, to identify the problem early. In case of school infestation, in families with school-age children, report promptly, subjecting everyone to a systematic check. Let us remember that having lice is not something to be ashamed of. It is also not synonymous with the tidiness of the child in question, and only happens by chance. Do not stigmatize those who have the misfortune of being infested. Can you go around with lice? Once that it has been ascertained that the child has a lice infestation, he or she must go to his or her family doctor. It is foreseen that the child cannot return to school or attend any collective activities, such as soccer, dance, if the indications to eliminate lice are followed scrupulously. The child can go back to school the day after the first treatment. If the child is not adequately treated with pesticide, a temporary removal from school must be arranged in order to interrupt the transmission chain. A medical certificate of readmission will then be required. Did you know that the louse does not fly nor does it skip? It is bothersome, but does not transmit diseases. Infest clean and dirty heads, indistinctively. Does not select antisocial class. May infects as well even parents, brothers and grandparents. Is not transmitted from animals. Click on the link to open the story. And remember, if you are suffering from pediculosis, do not be ashamed. It could happen to each and every one of us. More or less everyone will be infested with such at least once in their lifetime. This is Dr. Erica Astolfi of Med4Care. See you again next time. If you have enjoyed this video, please support us with a nice like and subscribe to the channel. See you soon on Med4Care.